15,000 copies of my own book that I self-published.
Well, they actually want 100,000.
Yeah.
They want.
Right,
it would be,
yeah.
But people do.
People are doing it, I know.
And
you're
then
right, yeah.
they need to decide whether or not they want to, whether they need that, whether that deal would be better.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
I think as well though, people who are, I've got a friend in America who's a romance author. It's made such a difference, particularly to romance authors who perhaps were writing for Harlequin. It is in the US. It's Mills and Boon here.
4% royalties.
So they might have sold. A friend of mine had sold 3 million books through that, but they're not getting huge royalties. But they can write, and they can, they write really well, and so why not just get your blacklist back, make your own money, and get 70% royalties. Yeah. And so then, so there are people who are looking for deals and can get them, and then there are others who. So I think it's different on a case by case basis. So there are some superstars over there in the US who you would think, why would you ever take a deal? And if somebody can take all that work away from you and you're not having to do the marketing, then you would. Arguably, we all have to do some to a greater or lesser extent.
I think the more successful you become, the less marketing you've got to do, isn't it? At least you have to be from everyone's there.
You just want to wake up one day and be like, oh my goodness, I'm really successful. I had no idea. I've been in a coma, and that's great. Well, so I don't need to do anything. So I can just write for the rest of my life, can I? Because it turns out that I've sold 1 million books. To which the answer would be yes. Just get on with it. But you need to sell that first million.
Oh, you've got to get there.
Well, I was reading on Twitter yesterday. There's a self-published author, Rachel Abbott, who you'll know.
I'm good friends with her.
And I read on Twitter last night that people talking about the fact that she just told everyone she's just sold 1.5 million book self-publishing. What could a publisher offer to her to make her go, okay, then I'll go with you?
That's right, nothing.
Is there anything other than saying like, well, we can put your book on a shelf? It's like, well, at that point, does she want that?
No,
like she's already got her
audience. That's the thing. I always think about when it comes to pricing, is that if you're paying 99 pence for something, does the reader value it? Is that the thing? There was that statistic not long ago, wasn't it, where only a certain percentage of books, I should have made notes of this, only a certain percentage of books actually get finished on an e-reader, as opposed to people who claim that they'll work their way through a book to be paid £6 for.
Also, do they read it? Because I know people who, when e-readers first came out, loads and loads and loads of e-books were really cheap, and they bought masses of them.
I mean,
they just sit on their reader and never get around to reading them.
I buy more than I will read.
I've got loads on my Kindle I've not read. I mean, there is an issue with stockpiling where it's 99p today, I'll buy that and then never read it. But I think there is still enough people who are reading it for us to know that we're still building an audience. I mean, you should know that anyway, because with the Heck novels, the first one sold a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, it's all.
And it kind of did keep going on, didn't it? I mean, there was people who kept coming back to it. It is interesting though with you is that like you did a lot more in ebook than you did paperback, and I think that was the first couple of books. It's twisted around slightly a little bit now, but
I think Avon are digital kings, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean,
they're dominating.
For sure, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I mean, we sold a lot of books.
So that's obviously people are enjoying your book and they're getting the confident that it's worth the investment. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it?
It's a nice feeling if you're the author, isn't it?
I think if I talk about my experience as a reader, I'm just buying. I didn't have the money to spend on a £9 book, so I'm reading so much more now. It's actually completely changed my reading habits. I buy lots more books than I will ever read. So I mean, fine, but at least rather than buying them secondhand, at least the author is getting some money, even if they don't get the satisfaction of knowing that I'm reading it. But I can, if I don't like it, I abandon it. Doesn't matter. My price point, I probably won't go above £5, and I'd rather pay something that's around £2 or £3. But I buy and read a lot more books than I did 5 or 10 years ago, just because I can afford them now. And I think that I can't be the only one. I mean, I think of myself as being a voracious reader, but the truth is that I just couldn't afford to buy that many books for a long time.
never in a million years I could stand outside their offices every day with a megaphone. I'm never going to get that review unless I'm with HarperCollins.
I mean, that's
as simple as that, isn't it?
There is a certain kudos attached to having a big publisher. It's not necessarily, doesn't translate to money necessarily.
But doesn't get you girls, I can tell you.
I think it's true that and if if sort of good reviews in if you want that review still in the New York Times, whatever, you're not going to get that if you're self-published. But I mean, I've got friends who are selling millions, multiples of millions. So that's
it's an amazing achievement.
I mean, through my publisher, they'll put something on Facebook and lovely present for my publisher, and you think, well, what's that then? You have a look, and it's like for 1 million copies sold, and and it's like, well, I think, didn't you get one of those a few months ago? So hold on.
Not jealous at all.
Yeah. I think that would look very vulgar on my medal.
Is that just because 100 million people bought 50 Shades of Grey trilogy, it doesn't mean that those people have bought that one and they were all of a sudden they were going to buy someone else's. Is that they were going to, instead of spending their money on that, they should have been spending it somewhere else. They wouldn't have done that, because that was just the way that worked out, was that it became word of mouth, and it became a hit off that.
There's also the other thing, which is a byproduct for everyone, which this is it drives me up the wall when I hear authors complaining about like Dan Brown or E.L. James and all of this, is that there are people who wouldn't buy books who will buy books now. There's no getting away from the fact that it's like what J.K. Rowling did with Harry Potter. She's millions of kids to writing. It's reading. I'm writing probably. And so even if people don't like, oh God, you buy that crap. At the end of the day, those people will say, actually, I quite enjoyed that. I haven't read the book like you. I've not read the book for 10 years, whatever.
Exactly. I think people, you read something, you read a couple of books and you just think, I don't know, that's not doing it for me. And then you read something and you just think, wow, this is great. Whatever it is, if it's 50 Shades or if it's something else, if it's Stephen King, and then you go on and you rediscover your love, because we are competing. And I think we're competing against films and and games, and I haven't. That's not an original point. That's something that's a point they make at Amazon actually. Is that there's not. I don't think books are in competition with each other, but we are in competition with other forms of. Why wouldn't you sit down and watch Kevin Spacey on Netflix and watch 30 hours of amazing, absorbing TV? That's what people have to choose.
Well, a box set is like a modern book. Remember years ago, you get a big book and you read it over a week.
It's like Dickens, isn't it?
It's like become a box set.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, a lot of my influences come from film and telly. Like your Breaking Bad, The Wire, loads of really amazing films. And I think if it hadn't been for those, in tandem with the Scandi Noir becoming so big, I'm not sure that I would necessarily have got back into crime fiction in such a big way. Maybe I would. I don't know. It's so strong.
Crime fiction is usually one of the top borrowed genres in libraries and things like that. It's it is one genre that seems to have sustained. I mean, it has a lot of. This is something that Tony and I disagree over, is what your book is classed as.
Yeah.
Is what genre it is.
Well, you said it was crap, and I'm saying it.
It was shit. But it is like it is a very large, encompassing genre as crime.
Yeah.
And you have your various offshoots.
But I think it's lazy though. I think I'm not saying that you're lazy because you're not. But what I mean is, I think that it's sometimes it's lazy by publishers to just say, "I'll just chuck it in my crime fiction." It's not, it's not like some books. I'm not talking necessarily about mine, although I still see mine as a thriller.
But I would say thrillers are still
that's because they made. When I was a kid and you go to the library, and Paul probably, although it was Latin when you were going, but when you go to the library,
on tablets. Described on tablets.
Like the fella with a chisel. There was you'd have a thing where now you go to a library now and it's crime.
Yeah.
You see crime, don't you? It's crime. You walk down the aisles, crime. when you used to go to the library when I was a kid, you'd have thriller, you'd have historical, there would be sub-genres. Now, whether or not that's because they had more staff then, or whether or not, publishers maybe had more staff and more time, but now they just sort of go, crime, romance, and it's too
oversimplified.
Yeah.
It's dumbed down marketing.
But also people find them in different ways. So they might find them because they're at the top of the chart. So they think, okay, that's popular. Let's see, So that's one way, and then obviously that's going to be a mix. Other people will think, well, I only like romance, and then they thought it was romance, but it turns out it's something else, and it turns out they like it. So I think that trying to be too narrow in defining it, I don't think it matters too much. People like books, don't they?
Yeah.
And tend to.
They'll find what they want at the end.
I think that very few people would say I'm a romance reader.
Yeah.
In terms of trying to reach them, you might say, well, we're trying to reach romance readers with this book.
Yeah.
But there's nobody I would suggest who is a romance reader. They probably read romance and mysteries. And something else.
Well, I was surprised.
That nobody's just that.
When I was trying to reach out to bloggers, actually, I was surprised to discover there's an awful lot of women's fiction and romance bloggers that also are avid readers of crime.
Yes,
and
of course,
I didn't see that coming.
Exactly, as we all are. Nobody says, "Well, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
I mean, there are some things that you probably think, "Well, I'm not going to read that," and that's
That's why I hate the Amazon email. You get to like 12 of them, you phone number and you look at it, and it's
please have my book on it.
Yeah. But it's got like Amazon, it recommends for you, and you'll look at it. I'm not knocking Amazon, by the way, because I think they're brilliant. I think they're too easy to slag off sometimes, although it's difficult with small indies and stuff, but there are more people buying books. But you get that email, and say if I bought Dennis Lehane the week before or something like that, it'll give me a very, very similar book.
Yeah.
And I sometimes feel that it kind of funnels you into a slot that becomes easy to go along with. That people don't go out and explore.
You go home and buy one of mine tonight and see what they start.
You might, because something ridiculous.
You might find that you're not getting your Dennis Lehanes. Let's see where that's
I think we'll get ELJ.
I might buy that. But no, you have that thing where it takes away that kind of browsing that we used to do in bookshops.
Yeah. Well, it's very difficult to browse online, isn't it? Because you can't.
There's too much.
Well, I think that's why we're told to garner all these bloody reviews, is to kind of convince browsers to take a chance on, the girl who wants to down.
So especially, you say you're doing a search for something, you say vampire fiction.
Yeah.
It'll be like 500 pages of books.
I know, it's
how do you know?
read
I
the
think
blurb.
a lot of it's still down to like word of mouth, isn't it?
Only make you a better writer. It just gives you the greater kind of, my dad worked in Ford for like 25 years, and good luck to him, he's working on production line as things come past him and all that kind of stuff every day. There's only so much of a spectrum of humanity you're going to see. Whereas if you're working as a barman and then you're working on a cruise ship and then you're working in it can only be good for you. If anyone wanted to learn how to write, that's got to be a great way of doing it.
That's why I think I used to change job every year. You took temporary contracts in the end because I knew I was going to get bored and I knew I didn't want to do it long term, and I found it intensely depressing.
That's why I always think when people do like creative writing degrees, I'm not knocking it, and good luck to them. If it works for them, it works for them. So it's not a snobbish kind of thing, but you'll talk to people. You might do a writers group talk or something like that, and someone will tell you that I'm doing a degree in creative writing, and they're like 19, and you think,
what have you got to say?
Do you know? I mean, you don't want to say it because they're probably brilliant writers. So good.
Yeah, but technically brilliant.
Technically, exactly. It might be technically good, but life experience.
Just go and get a job.
Just for less than 3 hours.
Sold cars once. I went to a place. They were made up because they had someone called Schumacher who comes to work in a car. That was the only reason they took me on it. Wasn't my CV. They just, Schumacher, yeah. And I turned up in the morning. I turned up in the morning. The guy went, right, there's the phone book. Start on.
Oh no, you were supposed to ring
people.
Cold. Oh no.
And I said, do you know what? I haven't got my glasses with me. I'll just turn in the car.
And then just went.
Never saw me again. About 2 months later, they rang me up and said, "Can we have the tie back?"
Oh, they did it.
We do get paid to to basically look at a blank page and just fill it.
The best job in the world.
But
Best job I've ever done.
there is also the flip side to that is we get paid to make stuff up, and that's literally, if we can't make it up, we don't get paid.